Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Love, Food and Fitness. Thank you so much for watching my podcast, subscribing to them, giving me so much of love and your positive feedbacks. It means the world to me. Truly speaking, with each episode, I'm feeling I'm growing myself with so much of more understanding, more learning, and it just is making me go for it again and again. Meeting new people, I think that has been the blessing in the entire journey of mine. I'm your host, Archna Kumar, an FME consultant and nutritional meal planner. And over the past 9 years, if I may say, I've realized that food plays a very important part in our life. It's not only our health, it's our mood swings, it's our energy levels and our complete well-being. Through my journey, I've realized that, the balanced eating, healthy eating, has such great impact that it has changed life. I've seen a life being transformed because of that. And therefore now it has become a passion with me to help people plan their menu accordingly to their health and, fitness. The icing on the cake is always that smile on their face when they are able to achieve something with the new diet that they are following. So it's just keeping me going and learning more and growing more every day. Thank you so much for all these opportunities. So today the topic of this episode is fueling immunity, the power of nutrition in your health. To speak about it,
people on diets, very strict diets, fall sick more often.
So today the topic of this episode is fueling immunity, the power of nutrition in your health. To speak about it, today my special guest is a woman of great achievements, a woman of great understanding and a very big heart.
I am more a nutritionist than dietitian.
And I started working in little projects initially, social entrepreneurship, fellowship programs.
People on diets, very strict diets, fall sick more often. So it is the connection between the food we eat and our body's ability to fight infection. Even when you go to an oncologist, he will hand you a handbook and say, the first thing you need to do is understand what you're eating. Because I can give you all the medicines and all the therapies that we talk about, but if your body is not equipped to fight it, it's not going to work.
So I'm happy to know that I can make a difference is all I can say right now.
Today my special guest is a woman of substance, is a woman of great achievements, a woman of great understanding and a very big heart. She truly leaves a mark wherever she goes, and I think people who know her know that she leaves a mark. She definitely leaves a mark with her knowledge and her wisdom. And she has been a great source of motivation and a very big role model for me, and she knows that truly. Welcoming today a very dynamic personality, Miss Alka Verma, with over 40 years of experience in various industries spanning from education, pharma, health, fashion, and so much more. With a vast experience in innovation, strategic planning, and leadership across industries, today she is a resident director at Summit, focusing on future-ready skilling initiatives, creating internship opportunities to equip students for the evolving world that we live in, passionate about growth in education, and she excels in networking, communication, and team building. Thank you so much for being here.
That's a lot you've said about me, Archna, but thank you so much.
That is it. Truly speaking from my heart, you have done a lot for me unknowingly, for me and my kids, and you mean a lot to me personally as well. And professionally, I think whosoever I've met and has known you, you have left a mark.
Thank you so very much. That's just so very kind of you. But I also know that it comes from your heart. So I'm happy to know that I could make a difference is all I can say right now. Yeah. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to come and talk to you. I'm looking forward to all the questions that you have for me going forward. Yeah.
And let's start with your journey. What has been your journey like, which you would like to share it right now with all of us?
That's a long journey because when you will know by the wisdom of my gray hair that it's been a very long journey.
Yeah.
Having said that, I want to start at the very beginning. So when I was in school, and that was so many, many years ago, there was a condition called ADHD, which nobody ever recognized then. But somewhere very deep within me, I kind of realized that my attention span was short. I realized that I was a very quick learner. And by the time the rest of the class caught up with me, I had already lost interest in it. So as I grew up, I decided to make that challenge my strength. And I became what is called today a startup specialist. It didn't have a name then.
Really?
Yes. And I started working in little projects initially, social entrepreneurship, fellowship programs, all kinds of little things where I knew I only needed to work, let's say, for 3 years. I would get them on their feet and move forward because it was just, for me, I needed a challenge, a minute to keep going.
So what did you challenge for yourself?
Many, many challenges. So the latest one being educational technology. But having said that, the closest to my heart was the period that I worked with pharmaceuticals. And later on, I came into what today is called nutritional immunology. Again, it did have a name then. But I think life took me through the course. So let me just go back to a little bit before that.
Sure.
I started getting recognized in the corporate world of if you have a startup and you have a great idea, find this lady called Alka Verma and she will get it off the ground. But they would also say, but don't expect her to stay after that. So with that reputation, I went across 9 startups. The startup that I'm with now is my 10th startup.
Oh.
And very diverse, from launching Marie Claire to selling real estate for Gujarat and Anuja Cements. Many, many other startups.
But that's footwear to...
Yes. Education.
Education.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So, but I've always believed that this diversity has what has given me the open-mindedness to learn new things, to question stereotypes and break the stereotypes and find new meanings in different things. And that's how my journey with nutrition began. So, an incident that I cannot not tell you because it's I've always wanted to do women-centric things. For me, whatever startup that I did had to have a mission. And the mission would always be something which, and believe you, it wasn't by choice. It just happened that it would always be women-centric. For example, when I started working with Tupperware, for me, it was not women selling airtight food containers, which is what everybody says.
Yeah.
For me, it was providing alternate income for housewives. So it became my mission to make that happen. And similarly, when I went into pharmaceuticals, it was a very large company that I was hired by. And when I went to the interview, one of the questions that they asked me is, Alka, this is a prescription-driven product. It's not an OTC product. And there was this board of people, these very serious-looking pharma men with their glasses on and looking at me and saying, do you know anything about this? And I'm like, no, but I will learn. And they said, do you know what this position is? And I said, yes, it's the national sales director for your organization. And they said, and it's medicine, it's not OTC. And I stood there in my innocence and said, OTC? What does that mean? And they all literally looked at the managing director that you brought this woman in for an interview. She doesn't even know what OTC is, which meant over-the-counter drugs. And yes. So I said, okay, I don't know what it means, but give me 2 days. I will come back for this interview and I will answer every question you have. And I did, and I got the job.
In 2 days?
Yes. Yes. I learned everything that there was about the company, about pharmaceuticals, and became the national sales director for 14 years.
My God.
But for me, again, Archna, my mission was different. My only condition was I will be your national sales director. I will take your sales up to the next level. But you have to allow me the opportunity to start the first all women's pharmaceutical division in your company. And we will not sell gynae products. We will sell cardiac products. And you won't believe it, they agreed.
They agreed?
Yes, they agreed. They allowed me to open my division out of Calcutta because that's where I was based and I was supporting 2 children at that time. And I could not move out for many reasons. And they agreed. And it turned out to be one very successful division of theirs. But in the course of that, and when you're selling cardiac products, you meet a lot of doctors and you talk a lot about the heart condition.
Yeah.
And every time we had conversations about the heart, they were all based around nutrition. So there were the amlodipines and the statins and the blood pressure medicines and everything. But every one of them would say, have you got something on nutrition that you can help us with? And again, me, have to take any new challenge that comes my way. I started reading. And I chanced upon a book written by today I know that he's a very well-known nutritional immunologist. I did not then. Randomly picked up a book called Nutritional Immunology and started reading it. The book was written by an Indian doctor called Dr. R.K. Chandra, who was now working at Johns Hopkins, but had been an AIDS doctor. And he had been a cardiologist, but he had changed his line to immunology and nutrition. Because of being the cardiologist that he was, he realized that just the statins and the amlodipines were temporary and they were curative.
Yeah.
And he said, I want to rewind and I want to go back to see what makes you have that heart attack. Instead of curing it, let's prevent it.
Let's prevent it.
Yes. And I started reading his books, and the crazy woman that I am, his address was written behind it. I wrote him a letter. Yes. I wrote him a letter saying, you don't know me, but I have been reading your book for the past 3 months and I am totally impressed by your vision. Can I come and see you? I can't afford it, but I want to come and see your research. And he sent me the ticket to go to them. And I went to Johns Hopkins.
He sent you a ticket?
Yes.
Wow, not knowing you at all.
No.
Oh, wow.
So I'm sure he must have read my LinkedIn profile or whatever it is, because they're quite savvy people. And a ticket then to go to Alberta or to go to Johns Hopkins wasn't the cheapest ticket to go. And he flew me business class. For me, it was the first time I had been on a business class flight and overseas. And he needed everything. He got me my visa, he sent me the invite, and I went there. And I started spending time with him, going to his research units, going through the trials that he was doing. And they were all related to the impact of the food we eat on our immune system. And the more I read, the more I saw, the more I was convinced that I did not want to be in the curative segment anymore.
You want to be in the preventive part?
I want to be in the prevent. Because this is something we eat food every day, 4 meals a day. And if by correcting what was going wrong there, we were able to bring health back into our lives, why would we want to go into medicine? It was a whole lot of unlearning for me. I came from a family of doctors. My grandfather was an ENT specialist. My aunt was a gynecologist, one of the top gynecologists in India in those days. And she had a clinic at Khan Market, very well-known gynecologist. But I wanted to break all their stereotypes, the myths, as always. And that's how my journey with nutritional immunology began.
Is your background also science?
Yes.
Your education?
Yes. So that it was. So I had a little bit of an advantage in the chemistry bit of it and the research. And yeah, in my master's, I had actually maxed my research and statistics being I have an MSc in a subject called Foods and Nutrition from the Lady Irwin College. So the bases were
Makes sense, joining the dots somewhere, yes.
Yeah.
Because you had the basic knowledge, basic, your things were there. You just had to kind of fly with whatever knowledge you had gained.
That's true, Archna, but in my life, I had never imagined that. I was a mass comm person. And for me, connecting with people and communicating was much more important till this meeting with Dr. Chandra. He would say little things to me. We would go to a buffet. And for me, then going to the Hilton for a buffet was like so glamorous. I'm talking of when I was 30 years younger than I am now, or maybe even more than that, yeah. So all this world was very new for me. And I would go and fill up my plate with, the rolls and this and that and come back and sit down with him. And he would look at my plate. It looks like you've come from a famine-stricken country, Alka. You don't need all that food. And he said, we're going to eat here again tomorrow. And we're going to eat again day after. Watch what you're eating. All that butter over there is not good for you. All this is not good for you. And I would, secretly say to myself, I should listen to the man. After all, he's so qualified. He has so many awards. He has all of this. If he's saying something to me, let me listen to him. And then, little by little, he started telling me, how many colors have you got on your plate? And I said, I have yellow and white because I have lots of eggs and I have lots of cheese and I have lots of bread. And he would say, now I want you to go back to that table and pick up 5 different colors and food. Is that something that you're also familiar with?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. And then I would go back and I would add the different colors. I began to feel better. I could work better. I could focus better on whatever was happening. Lots of things within me started changing. Couple of things that I would say, it is, we Indians believe that drinking your glass of milk in the morning is the most important.
I know, we all feel like
that. Do?
Yeah.
And then when we do that, then we say, acha, now we have sorted.
I think our nutritionist sorted. This is not the case at all.
No. He would just pick up that glass of milk and he said, milk is for babies. You don't need that milk, Alka. Why don't you try having this watermelon juice or cucumber or whatever? Horrible things which at that time I have. Yucky thing. But Archana, in the time that I worked with him, and I worked with him for 6 years, not all in Canada, we moved back to India and we set up a company over here. And we started promoting multivitamins, and I'll come back to the multivitamins a little bit. I just want to go into this nutrition bit a little more. I realized he would, or when we traveled overseas, whether we were in Mexico or wherever we would be, and we were working in a lot of developing countries, Africa, with malnutrition, with formula for babies, things like that, Danone, Nestle, all of that. And he would just, when we would go out, he would say, what do you want to eat today? And I would say McDonald's or, whatever, because I was so trying to eat those things. And he would say, no, we're going to eat the local food of this country. And we are going to go to the home kitchens over here. And he would find that little place and we would go and we would eat whatever was their food.
Mm-hmm.
I slowly started developing a taste for that kind of food and interest in knowing about it. So in Africa, they have this very famous peanut chicken dish.
Mm-hmm.
They always serve it with a bit of rice, peanut chicken, and a little bit of salad, jisko hum kachumbar kehte hain, with that. That's their national dish.
Okay.
I forget what it's called now. And he would just tell me, do you know what the peanuts and this are giving you? And he would tell me this. And you know what the onions are this, they give you this. And slowly he would explain to me why we want to and why we must eat the local seasonal food.
Absolutely.
Over buying avocados at 200 rupees an avocado when it's not in season and it's come to you from God knows which part of the world with chemicals in the deep freeze it has lost its nutritional value. Zilch. I have to tell you, my life turned around from there. Then he would always tell me many, many little things about local, uh, eat every food group. It would never be, I would say, no, 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 I've had enough of this yesterday, and today I'm not going to have this. And he would say, it doesn't work like that. I can't feed you for 7 days with something. Your body is only going to absorb that much. The rest of it is anyway out of your system one way or another. So don't believe that because yesterday you had one slab of chocolate, today you will not eat ice cream and you will be good. It's not like that. He would say this very interesting line. It's like karma. You can't negate your good karma with your bad karma, but the other way around.
Yeah.
You have to do consistent good karma. And I thought that made sense to me. Yeah, you can't negate it. You have to pay back for whichever it is. And slowly I began to become very conscious of what I was eating. I was feeling better. I wasn't a very unhealthy person, not even from the beginning. But amazingly, when I would talk about it to other people and tell them, why don't you try this? Many would come back to me and say, you know what, Alka, what you told us worked. Then I thought to myself, okay, now this is becoming important. This is becoming interesting. Maybe I should start looking more into aspects. Yeah. And my interest just grew and grew and grew from there. And there's so much more that I will talk about, the importance of multivitamins and other things as we go. Do you have any other particular question for me?
So,
That was my journey, and I've just gotten to the point. Yeah, okay.
so when we say nutrition immunology, what does that term in itself mean? Like nutrition, we all understand. Immunity, we understand. But when you put them together, what do you think it means? Really? What does it stand for?
That's an excellent question. Nutritional immunology is that branch of medicine which studies the connection between the food we eat and our body's ability to fight infection. And there is more and more evidence that what we eat
affects our immunity. Anything from a heart condition. We know that Indians have a genetic predisposition to heart condition. Where do you think that comes from? From our eating habits. It comes through the genes, but is aggravated by the oily food that we eat.
Yeah.
So, so basically, that's what nutritional immunology is. And I remember Dr. Chandra would always tell me this, Alka, it's better to be a little bit overweight than to be underweight. Because when you are underweight, your immune system is challenged. You will not be able to fight the infection. And the more you read about it, people on diets, very strict diets, fall sick more often because they are missing out on essential nutrients which cannot be made up by one food group. So it is the connection between the food we eat and our body's ability to fight infection. And now you will know that even when you go to an oncologist, he will hand you a handbook and say, the first thing you need to do is understand what you're eating. Because I can give you all the medicines and all the therapies that we talk about. But if your body is not equipped to fight it, it's not going to work. And that's so true. That's how it is.
And that's the difference probably between a dietitian and a nutritionist, if I may say that.
Very different. So a dietitian is somebody who plans a diet for you, either to lose weight or to gain weight, or if you've had typhoid, so you don't need a certain kind of food, or you've been sick. They plan your food after you have already been sick.
Yeah, that's
or
true.
Yeah, if you're overweight or you're anorexic or you're whatever.
Yeah.
But a nutritional immunologist foresees what can happen
Yeah.
if you miss out certain food groups and helps you correct it before you fall sick.
Yeah.
So a dietitian and a nutritionist are two completely different things. Yeah. And I would say I am more a nutritionist than an dietitian. We need both kinds.
Yes, of course.
We need both kinds.
Of course.
But yeah. And you will also notice now that even in India, more and more people are going into the well-being approach. Actually, we always were. Then somewhere
India was
over
known
there,
for it. Actually, we lost it somewhere in
this
between.
is right. The Western world came in and gave us lots of very good medicines, and we started depending on them. What we didn't realize was that we don't have to be sick to be cured. If we fix it from the beginning, then yeah. And that's something very, very close to your heart, because I've known you for many years working in the food business and have sampled many of you. And I always remember your saying, my bread is freshly made. My parathas don't have preservative in it. Inborn things which I think you just grew up with or you began to believe in. I don't know where it came from. But all the things that kind of gelled with my beliefs. So it always worked very well for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that happened more in the COVID time when I got the permission to actually move out and start my production unit again, when everybody was actually stuck indoors because it was not allowed. It was a complete lockdown. And that's when a lot of requests started coming from people who knew I was running the production unit, that that I have this allergy, or I can't eat this, my body will not accept this, can you make something for me? That's how my probably more love with food started, to understand ki unke liye ye banana hai, and then how to work around it. There's certain for example, if somebody says I can't have egg, there's certain recipes which that product needs egg, then how to replace egg with something that will help them and make the still product that tasty and that delicious to eat. So that's when I started reading more about food, and my love for food and learning about it grew then. And it was enhanced, if I may say, when they used to call me up and say, "Ki, Archna, we loved it." And a couple of times, and it was so nice, and they ordered something for their parents, and this made me speak to the parent, and the mother was like, she blessed me so much. I've not been able to eat it for such a long time, and now you made it for me, and I was able to have it. So that's the reason I think my love with food and probably the dietary needs of a person started during the COVID time.
And that's how nutrition became maybe so important.
That's how nutrition came into my life also.
Archana, just think about this. Everything, all our festivals in India revolve around two things: fasting or feasting.
I agree with you completely.
And why? Because the people decades below us understood the importance of both. There has to be fasting and there has to be feasting, and where it balances is what good nutrition is all about. And then came this whole journey with fast food. I love it too occasionally. But having said that, at the end of the day, the more we eat seasonal, the more we eat local. Just think about this. There's a lot of loki tinda in summer, watermelon. They all have water.
Water content is very high.
Exactly. Now, if you're going to replace that by trying to eat artificially grown carrots, it's never going to be the same.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yes, and then remember this thing about colors. I don't know whether you know this or not. You probably do because you're into nutrition. There is a diet called the rainbow diet, which is so well accepted, and it is all about the colors. Because the colors are the identifiers of the vitamins in them. So the orange has carotene, which is good for your eyes. The beetroot has iron, which is good for your blood, and so on and so forth. If we actually eat local, eat seasonal, eat by colors, we are pretty close to having a good, healthy old age, whatever you might call it. Importantly, we are not going to be popping in pills to get better if we have taken care
Yeah.
of what we have eaten.
True.
Because our immune system is truly the most important function of your body. The most important. If you don't have an immune system, you're finished. That's it. What happened at COVID? Why were we locking ourselves up inside? Because we weren't sure whether our body is going to be able to fight those infections when we go out there. So we protected ourselves from those, right? And then we took the vaccines and whatever. But it was because we did not have the confidence, because we knew probably our system is not going to be able to fight that infection. We lost a lot of people to it.
Yes.
And
that was
and
very
maybe
sad.
that was a big warning sign for us
For
to
all of
say,
us.
go back to your roots, start thinking differently. And yeah, look at you, you got influenced by it. Maybe it was the other way around, people asking you.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, it takes you back to the importance of the food we eat and our body's ability to fight infection.
They say our kitchen is well equipped to fight a lot of infections, and I think we were speaking about it sometime back also. So, would you like to share something more about it?
About our kitchen? Yes. Oh my God. Yes. And before that, I have to tell you that we were always told, look at the Western food. They don't have spices. They don't have all of that. Archana, that is the biggest mistake that has been made by the West, which is why they have a lot more cancer than us. They have a lot more rectal colon cancers. They have a lot more many other kinds of infections, which I can't think of the names right now, because of avoiding spice. Our kitchen has haldi,
Healthy, most
natural
important,
disinfectant. Cinnamon naturally fires up your basal metabolic rate. Even if you add a pinch of cinnamon to your chai every day, you're managing your weight. Desi ghee. Today, the West has started putting it on their bread and eating it instead of butter.
Yeah, and we are going towards the West.
That's right. Garlic, onion, they all have very important, what we call phytochemicals.
Oh, yes.
And those phytochemicals are what build our immunity. So, of course, we don't want to have a lot of oil and a lot of spice.
Of course.
But there is no need to avoid spices. Add that pinch of ghee, add that haldi, add that red chili, add the green chili, the ginger, the garlic. They all have therapeutic benefits. Therapeutic, building your immunity.
Both of them.
So, Indian food, and
as I was just mentioning to you, the South Indians, especially the ones in Andhra, eat a lot of spice.
Even they have their chutneys, which has a lot of spice and all. They are definitely fitter people than we are up in the north for several reasons. But one of them is the fact that they use lots of spices in their food. Thai, look at the Thai people. They use so much basil. They use all of that. And the fresher the herbs, the fresher the masalas, homemade masalas, the better it is to go. But yes, your kitchen over there has everything you need to get to a very healthy old age.
And actually, there's a reason for everything. Even raw onions in summers, they say कि it fights the so-called loo. You know, the
क्योंकि उसमें potassium होता है, sodium होता है, which is what you're losing when you sweat, when you perspire. Yeah.
So there is a reason why all these food habits have been we've been given through generations, passed on from the recipes and everything. But like people in Andhra, probably they're able to eat a lot of spices. Maybe this weather here in North, they're not able to take it. But there are alternatives. There are other spices, there are other herbs which will help us. So we just have to kind of balance out things.
Absolutely. And if you notice, every South Indian will eat 2 spoons of curd after their meal. Why do they do that? Now we talk a lot about must eat fermented food for gut health. What is that? That's fermented food.
Absolutely.
Right?
Kanji. It's the easiest fermented food that I think any household has.
Exactly. And we usually say कि दोपहर को खाएंगे दही रात को नहीं खाएंगे,
हाँ,
है ना?
बिल्कुल.
लेकिन साउथ इंडियंस तो खाते
हैं.
क्योंकि वो fermented है, वो probiotic है, मतलब जो भी whatever masalas that you have had, it's all going to be annulled. The harmful effects, if any of those, will be annulled by the fermented and the probiotic
Yeah,
food.
absolutely.
And gut health, we know. If your gut health is good, everything is good about you. The first sign of disease is your gut.
Is your gut. I think that
It's your
plays a
gut.
very, very important
When you're
role.
nervous, you want to rush to the washroom. When you're upset, you want to rush to the washroom. It is all a reflection of gut health.
Yeah.
And the gut is good when it's eating fresh, local, normal, everyday food, but with every food group in it. You cannot keep out a protein or a carbohydrate or a whatever. Every
In this
food
recent
group.
talk show I was invited to, there's the same question when you're traveling. What should we do about the food? You know, how do we take care of what we're eating? That's what the two things that you're saying, that eat the local food, eat what is in season.
Yes.
Then probably two more things that I could add to that was also that eat small portions
Yes.
and keep yourself hydrated.
Yes.
I think that just takes care of every aspect. And normally people go to probably from North India, somebody go to South India, they go and eat chola bhatura there. Like, come on, don't do this. Go and eat the local food.
The weather
So-
conditions are different. Everything is different. And what they are eating is the best for you to eat at that time. Yeah. Yeah. Much as you crave. I mean, it's perfectly okay to go out there and have fast food occasionally, or off-season food. Now you're craving for strawberries and you say, okay. But as
That's
long
once
as
in a while,
a
that's fine.
large part of the time you're doing the right thing
Yeah.
is probably what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we, with your knowledge now that you have, if you kind of make it a little time zone for you, if you're young, you were say about 14 or a 16-year-old, would you like to change something then?
Definitely. I have to tell you, when I got married, I was 18. I was 43 kgs and 5 feet 6 inches tall. I had a pimply
You
skin.
were 43 kgs?
Yes. You won't believe it now, looking at me.
No, you I don't know the weight right now, but you are very fit even right now. But 43 kgs is very less actually.
Yeah. But let me also tell you the rest of it. I had a pimply skin. I had buck teeth, which stood out because my face was so thin that they kind of seemed that I had my teeth sticking out of my
Are you
face.
describing somebody else?
Yeah, no, this is the truth. Because what was I living on? Fast food all the time. And not wait, you had to be those were the days of being pencil thin, twiggy, remember? My days were the twiggy days. And I happened to be one of the live models that they had in those days. But
I can imagine this.
Oh,
I can really imagine that.
and the amount of makeup I had to put to hide that pimply skin, because everything was going wrong inside me with the diets that I was on. I remember going to my dentist then, and I was still this very gangly person, and I was just about to get married. And I said, "Doctor, for once, give me those ting teeth. I want to have those sparkling white teeth, which I never had." And he looked at me and he said, "I've known you from the time you were a little girl, and I have seen you grow up through all these years. Stop thinking of yourself as 32 teeth. Your personality is way beyond your teeth. Stop thinking about your physical appearance so much, Alka, and start thinking about what you put inside it." And I think I have quoted that to so many young people today who are so external. So yes, if I could go back then, I wish I had met this dentist 8 years sooner, and I wouldn't have gone through those. I was always sick. I was always low on energy because I was just not eating right. I was always very, very conscious of, the way one looked, the way one dressed, but not what I was putting inside me. And yeah, that's one thing I would change.
And one message probably for, same age group, 14 to 16-year-old now, because most of the time these kids don't want to eat something like a ghiya tori tinda. They will run away from it completely, So is there something that you like to kind of motivate them to eat healthy?
Well, I wouldn't force them to eat ghiya and loki, quite honestly. Because there are so many alternatives.
Yeah, they are.
And when you have there is a bhindi available also and a cauliflower available also. But what I would definitely, my message to them would be, give everything a try. Do not cut out any food group. Have everything in moderation. There will be things that you will not like, and it's okay not to eat them. But there will be some things like a amla, which you know is better than having 10 vitamin C pills. Even if you have to have a bitter amla, make it, have it. So think about food differently. Don't think about it something that's just filling your stomach. Think about it as something that when you are at my age, you're somewhere in your mid 60s, you can turn around and say, I put the right things into me, which is why I'm standing tall today without any medication. I don't take a single medication even till today.
Wow.
Yeah. The only thing I swallow, and quite regularly, is a multivitamin pill. Other than that, I am on no medication. Because from the time I turned about 32 or 33, I became very watchful of what I was putting into my mouth. I eat chocolate, I eat ice cream, I eat all of that, but moderation. Instead of taking that big slab, I will buy the shorties and eat one shorty instead of gobbling up a whole lot of it.
Yeah.
But there's nothing I do not eat. And there's nothing that I would tell them not to eat. The occasional burger is good. Everything is good in moderation. But fresh food, local, no missing any food group, and don't think of yourself only externally. Think about what you would like to be when you're 70 or 80, and nothing can go wrong with you then.
Since we're talking of time zone, what about aging and immunity? You know, people with, like, I have my parents, and that they are also having some age-related issues, but everybody at this, maybe when they're 17, 80, there are a lot of changes in the body happening. So what should be their outlook towards food, especially since we're talking about nutrition from food?
Okay, so the truth is that at 80, 85, you can't change too many things because, as I just said, it's a lifestyle
Yeah, it's a
change
journey.
that
It's
you
a complete
make, right?
journey. Yeah.
Weight is a combination. 20% is exercise, 80% is food, right? The more weight you carry around your heart, the more unhealthy you're going to be, is the bottom line. How do you keep that weight manageable? Is by eating the right food, by eating every group, eating spices, because spices fire up your basal metabolic rate, right? I would say conscious eating, but eating every kind of food, because anything that you are told not to eat is what you're most attracted to eating.
That always is the case.
Yeah. So if you're diabetic, then some of these are genetic things and you're never going to be able to change them. And I would say it's about a 60-40 balance. 60 is controllable by the kind of food we eat, the lifestyle we lead. 40% would be genetic, and there's very little you can do about it. But I think the bottom line here is conscious eating, activity, and social interaction. These three put together is your mantra for a healthy old age. Old age, well, 85 now is the life expectancy.
Yeah.
So most people are going to live beyond that to 1993.
Yeah.
And if you start thinking about your food when you are young, then you will not get to that level where you would have to deal with all the medications that you have to. But another thing I do want to add here is there's a lot of myth going around. I want to bust that myth about not taking multivitamins as you grow older. And when I say grow older, 40, 45 is when you start, your body starts not assimilating the food the way it used to. You cannot get the vitamin mineral requirement out of the food you eat because your body cannot assimilate it. Please pop that multivitamin in every single day. And the minute you cross 45, 50, that calcium because the amount of calcium your body needs, you need to drink 3 liters of milk a day.
Which
If you
is
do,
not-
you'll have a perpetual upset stomach,
Yeah.
and it will be totally counter-effective. And there is no difference in the effect that those vitamins have in your immune system, whether they come from a pill or they come from food. So please don't get carried away by this, that I'm not going to take a multivitamin because my food is good. Your food may be good. You still need that multivitamin.
Sometimes also the absorption part of the
Yes.
body. You know, the
Cannot
body is not able
assimilate,
to.
cannot absorb, cannot digest.
Yeah.
3 liters of milk can we have? We can't.
We can't.
So what's the option? You have to get the calcium, because bone deterioration starts from 35, hormone related. Then you menopause. It gets worse. But if you have protected yourself, then you're already equipped. Why do we buy life insurance? Not that we want to get sick and use it, but we cover ourselves that if we fall
If we
sick,
fall sick,
a multivitamin
it's
or
covering us.
is an insurance to a good healthy life.
Good health, yeah.
So take it anyways. Yeah.
And that's good. A lot of people, especially older children, हमें नहीं खाना दवाई.
कि हम दवाई नहीं खाएंगे, हम खाते तो है ना पालक, हम खाते तो है ना देसी घी. अरे आप खाते हो लेकिन आपकी बॉडी उसे डाइजेस्ट नहीं कर सक रही है. या
You know, I remember my elder one used to play tennis, and she used to be on the tennis court for about 4-5 hours every day. And there was kids along with her who had vitamin D deficiency. And they say vitamin D is something that you get from the sun. And they were out in the sun for 4-5 hours every single day, and they had vitamin D deficiency. So it's not what is going inside, it's more like what is your body absorbing out of it. Otherwise, the rest is going waste.
Absolutely.
So it's very important to have that balance. And if the medicine is giving you that, I think it's wise to
take it.
To take it.
I would definitely advise. In fact, with Dr. Chandra, what we launched in India was a range of multivitamins called Immunoboost. And we were the first people then, and I'm talking of way back in 2025 years ago, when you know, in India, people even started talking about the connection of nutrition and immunity. It was just 25 years ago. Before that, we were so carried away by whatever was happening in the West that we ignored the immune factor. It was all about looking good. It was all about being zero size. It was all having that waif-like model-like figure. But the immune system was finished. The number of allergies that came up in those years, all because of the food not being balanced. So yes, nutrition, good nutrition is your mantra. In fact, I have to tell you this. I'm in the process of now almost ready to publish my first
I was just going to ask about that.
Yes,
Please
and
tell me
I'm
about
very
it,
excited about it.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of regard for Dr. Chandra, because I am who I am today from many of the learnings that he gave me, and they've really stood me in good stead. And he used to always say to me that, Alka, one day you will write a book. And I would say, I'm not a writer. I'm not going to be able to write a book. And he would say, you will write a handbook, which will be 100 tips to be 100 times healthy in 100 days.
Oh, wow.
And we lost Dr. Chandra just last year.
Oh,
and this is going to be my dedication to him. And I hope to have it out very soon. In about 2-3 months, it should be there. And I would advise every dietitian, every nutritionist, and anybody who values good health with a disease-free body to read it, because it's just going to be 100 tips. And if you live those 100 tips for 100 days, you will feel the change.
That's wonderful. Is that the name of the book also?
Yes, it is. 100 tips to be 100 times healthy in 100 days.
That's
and
amazing.
It's tried and tested and it works.
Wow. And when is it going to be out?
I'm hoping in the next 2-3 months. I've just got the manuscript ready.
Okay.
But because it's a nutritional book, It has to go through the nutritional council. So I'm just in the regulatory process of getting all of those vetted.
So you need some certain approvals?
You need approvals, yeah, because it's a handbook that you're going to give out to doctors, to nutritionists.
Oh, really?
So you need to make sure that what you've put into it is backed by evidence. So when it goes to the board of nutrition, they look through it and they say, where's the evidence on this? And then you have to furnish those clinical trials to them and whatever. And then
This must have required a lot of study by you also.
A lot of clinical researches, yes, but because I had practiced it for 30 years, it wasn't very hard for me to put it together.
Yeah.
But to get the evidence together, yes. I've been working on it almost 2 years now. Because every time Dr. Chandra would meet me, whether he was in hospital or wherever, he would ask me this, how's your book going? And I'm like, I'm working on it, Ranjit, I'm working on it, yeah. And I just finished writing the foreword, dedicating it to him, because I know that everybody who reads it may not apply all 100, but even if you apply 30 or 40 of those tips to your life, I can promise you it's going to make the difference to your life.
Can't wait.
Never overlook the importance of nutrition on your immune system.
I think we can't wait to read the book now.
Looking forward to having it out there too.
Yeah,
and I shall definitely call you to the launch, Archna.
I would love to be there. It would be an honor. It would actually be an honor for me to be there.
And be a pleasure for me to have you there, because I know your passion for food. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So now since I think I like to get my Bollywood love in all my podcasts. So in Bollywood side, if your immune system had a theme song,
what would it be?
What would it be?
That's a really difficult one. What would my... ए भाई जरा देख के खाओ, आगे ही नहीं पीछे भी, ताजा ही नहीं कुछ भी कुछ ऐसे ऐसे.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Just thought of it on the spur of the moment. Yeah.
That's a good one. I think we can rewrite that song.
ए भाई जरा देख के खाओ.
That's good. So now getting to my fun round, which is a rapid fire round.
Yes.
Today it's called the Immunity Bites edition.
Okay.
One superfood you swear by for immunity?
Definitely basil seeds, what we call sabjas in Hindi.
Seeds.
Everybody must have a teaspoon every day. Soak it in water, sabjas. Miracle immunity food.
And how long do you soak it for?
2 minutes.
2 minutes?
Yeah, you just put sabjas, maybe put a little bit of oats into it, stick some hot water into it and leave it for 2 minutes and it's done. Then you can add yogurt, you can add fruit, you can add whatever you want to eat and eat it. Sabjas is a miracle for gut health, for immunity.
Wonderful.
It is a superfood. Not a lot of people talk about it because it's not expensive and it's easily available everywhere. The best thing you do.
People really talk about things which are more expensive most of the time.
Yes, unfortunately, it's a marketing world out there, and
yes.
so be it. Yeah,
absolutely. One junk food, because there are temptations all around. So one junk food you secretly love but wish was immunity boosting also.
Okay, my heart goes out to McDonald's burgers and especially the fish burger. I really wish...
Filet of fish.
Yeah, the filet of fish is absolutely irresistible to me most times. Would it... Well, it doesn't have any immune effects, but at least it has omega-3 fatty acids. So what I do is I console myself, forget the rest, it's giving me omega-3 fatty acids.
Feel good factor.
Feel good, yeah, that's it, yeah.
One bedtime ritual that helps your immunity while you sleep.
Walnuts at night, not the ones that already come broken, but keep a large bowl of unshelled walnuts, and before you go to bed, crack 2 of them and eat them last thing before you go to sleep. It has something in it which helps you sleep. It has all the right nutrients which overnight help you build your immune system for the next day. But don't have more than 2 or 3 at a time. Because especially in summer, there can be other complications to it. Yeah. So I do that. That's
You do that?
religiously for me. Before I get into bed, 2 cracked walnuts, and then I go to bed.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's nice. If you could rename vitamin C, what fun name would you give it?
Ah, good one. Vitamin C, what does it do for me? Makes my skin glow, my hair grow. Okay. A fun name.
Yeah.
Can I call it Julie Andrews in Sound of Music? I would probably call
Oh
it
my
Julie.
God, that's my favorite actress and my favorite movie.
And she's full of vitality in
she
that.
is.
Yeah.
Even at this age, she's
Yes,
like
absolutely.
amazing.
Yeah. So I think that's what I would want to call it. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
The Julie vitamin. Yeah.
Julie
Something like
vitamin.
that. Yeah.
Wonderful. This one I really want her to listen to. If you could create an ultimate immunity potion, what magical ingredients would it have?
First of all, happiness, a lot of love,
Yeah.
and definitely I would put in some calcium, some vitamins into it, and the worst, little bit of karele ka juice. When you let your happiness go to another level, then you need karele ka juice to bring it down a little bit. Yeah. Karele ka juice is a wonderful, wonderful. So I have a Thai. My son has a Thai partner.
Okay.
And she actually eats kacha karela before she goes to sleep at night. So while I'm cracking my walnuts, she's chopping up kacha karela and eating it.
Every night?
Yes. And you have to see how her skin glows. She's got black, shiny hair. And she's healthy.
Wow.
She's healthy, yeah. She has so much energy,
The
so much.
secret is the karela.
Karela.
Oh God.
According to her, she says, Mom, it's the karela. I'm like, you have your karela, I'll have my walnuts. Yeah.
But isn't difficult to have, like without even, with the peel, without the
With
peel?
the peel.
With the peel.
She just washes it and chops it like that and has one full karela kadwa like that.
Some salt, pepper on it? Nothing.
Nothing.
Oh God.
Salt, to matlab, I hardly ever see her eat anything which has salt. It's minimal always. And a lot of fermented things, she'll ferment the ginger before she uses it. All those little secrets. And I was thinking to myself that I learned this through books, but she has learned it through seeing her mother and grandmother do it.
Yeah.
She doesn't know why she's doing it. I give her the reason. But she just does it because it's become a lifestyle.
Yeah, that's true.
And you know why the Japanese people live to be beyond 100 and 103. So Japan, Thailand, it's similar food patterns. And I actually see her doing this every single day. So yeah. So that's my magic portion for you, yeah. I won't eat it though, yeah.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So now to just sum it all up, we've already said it so many times, eat seasonal, eat local, eat all the colors of the food
And
groups.
eat in moderation.
Eat in moderation, keep yourself hydrated. But if I may say that, many things, and in fact, most of the things in our life are beyond our control always. But what we put inside in our mouth is something we can really control.
Sure.
And we must always look or watch what we're eating. And I tell you, when you start on this journey, which I started a few years back, this journey of eating right and, wellness, you will enjoy your food. The food will become more tasty. It's more delicious when you enjoy it this way.
Sure.
Instead of just having it other way around. So please do subscribe to our channel if you like it and leave your positive feedbacks, or even whatever feedback that you have. It will help us to improve our upcoming episodes. And please shower all your love on us. Really, 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 really need it. And to reach out to Alka ma'am, she is all her credentials will be posted along with the episode. So please do reach out to her for anything that you want to know about nutrition immunology. And we are waiting for your book to come out.
Yes, absolutely,
I'm really
Archna. And you
looking
will be the
forward to it.
first one who hears about it. And thank you so very much for giving me this opportunity to talk to so many people.
It means a lot to me. Thank you so
and to
much.
me
I am feeling enlightened today with the knowledge that you've shared.
Thank you. Thank you so very much.
And to end this episode today, with my Bollywood-style, some lines of a song that always echoes with me. So today it is going to be खुशियां तो रखी हैं पॉकेट में, कागज के नन्हे से पैकेट में, इनकी बिजली की तरह क्यों बचत करे बताओ ना, खर्च कर डालेंगे सारी आज ही आओ ना, है महंगे दर्द बड़े और मुस्कान पाई हमने मुफ्त में, खुल के जीने का तरीका तुम्हें सिखाते हैं, हंस के देखो ना लतीफ़ा तुम्हें सुनाते हैं. So lots of love to all of you. Please take care of your health. Keep smiling. Eat right and just spread happiness to anybody and everybody you meet. Lots of love.